This is Carl at National RV Detroit. I'm going to walk you through this 2024 Zinger travel trailer. Number is 290 KB. Okay, this is going to be a how-to video. I'm just going to show you some of the features and how they work. So I'll start here at the door side rear, and you see you have power stabilizers here. There's the switch, and there's the stabilizers themselves. One switch controls both rear, you can see, like so. You don't lift the trailer with them, you're just going to take the movement out, hence stabilizer jacks. This is an outside kitchen. This is not part of the trailer, that's my tire gauge. You pull this out here, and you have a basin with running water. You also have a 2-burner cooktop here. Now, you have to plug this into the LP system, so you have this quick connect male fitting, and it will plug in right here. So there's a quick connect fitting down there, so you just plug it in. You have a refrigerator. This is a outside shower, hot and cold water. You have both hot and cold water. Now, this is the black tank flush here. Basically what this sticker says is don't turn on the water to the flush unless your black tank valve, dump valve, is in the open position. So remember that. You don't want too much pressure to build up. So the procedure would be you pull up to the dump station, obviously, you hook up your hose, put it in the dump, then you pull your black tank dump valve, which is toilet water and waste, of course, and you hook your hose up to here, leaving the valve open after you dumped it. You would turn on the water here, and it'll spray out the inside of the tank, clean off the sensor so you get a good accurate reading, that sort of thing. So that's the flush. Now if you come over here, this is the second most common way to get water to the trailer. This is the city water fill. So the most common way, of course, is the city water hookup. But if you're camping someplace without city water, you're boondocking or whatever, you can pre-fill your fresh water tank here, then use the onboard pump to pump the water. So all the plumbing will work as though you have city water. You'll just be pumping it out of the tank. And of course, this is the valve to drain your fresh water tank. It's that white gate valve there, if you can see it. Okay. Okay. So you have a TV. This is TV signal out. This is just 120 AC. So you can watch your TV out here if you choose. You have outside speakers. Of course, that vent is the vent for your range hood. So you can see there's there's 2 little latches in there holding the baffle shut. If you're cooking and you're venting to the outside, you want to unlock those little latches so the baffle flaps freely and you get unobstructed flow to the outside. So keep that in mind if you're venting while cooking. You have a power awning with LED strip. Outside speakers, I think I mentioned that. Your steps fold into the trailer, and you can adjust the legs, obviously, for the terrain you're on. This is your front 2 stabilizer, the switch and then the stabilizers themselves. Okay, so let me open this up here. First we'll talk about the stabilizers a little bit more. You can see that this is a long crank. It's different than the typical crank. It has a cylinder with a slot cut in it, right? So if you come around to the other side of the trailer, to the stabilizers, we can take a look at this side, and you can see that you have a shaft with a pin through it right there. So this cylinder with a slot sits right on the shaft with a pin. So the bottom line is you can crank the stabilizers, the electric stabilizers, you can crank them manually if you need to. So if for any reason you were to lose power, you can put that crank on there and crank them up and down. So that's a good feature to have just in case. All right. Now, when we're talking about cranks, This one here is another emergency type crank. If you look at it here, it's got a, let me get in front of the lens there. So if your power tongue jack ever fails, you can pull this rubber plug right out of the top here and then use this crank, and you can also crank that manually. So you can always get hitched and unhitched no matter what. So two features that are that can really come in handy if you happen to have an issue with your trailer. If you purchased a hitch for this trailer, it will look like this one here. Some people don't purchase the hitch, some do. If you did, this is a Husky centerline with built-in sway control. It's a weight distribution hitch, so it's a nice hitch, and you don't have to add a separate sway controller on. It's already built in. So we'll show you how that works when you pick up. Also, keep in mind you have these marker lights are wired, and they're set up for a camera kit. So if you're interested, you can get the Furrion camera kit, and you'd have a camera on this side and one on the other side. It fits right here. And then on the back of the trailer, there's a backup camera. So you could have a 3-camera kit, or if you were interested, it's pre-wired for whatever configuration you want. So you could just add the backup camera if you wanted. It's up to you. It just gives you options, and it's pre-wired for those. Okay, so this thing here it's just a hookup. If you wanted to purchase a solar battery charger, that's where it would plug in. It's just a solar panel kit that would charge your battery. It's an option, like the backup cameras is an option. You have a deep cycle marine battery, and that's your kill switch. You can shut the battery off by turning it counterclockwise. You have 2 LP tanks, full, with an automatic changeover regulator. Your power tongue jack with a hitch light we talked about. If we come around, you can see your other potential backup camera. And we're looking through this way here, just to pass through storage. It's pre-wired for a solar panel. So it's already got wiring in the walls if you wanted to add a solar kit to it. It would consist of a panel on the roof, a solar controller, and so that's an option. Now you have this is a 50 amp system, so you have a 50 amp power cord, and we give you the reducer to reduce it down to a 30 if you need to. We also give you another one to go down to a 20. So you have that. This is your city water hookup here, the most common way to get water to the trailer that we talked about. That's what you're going to use almost always. You have on-demand hot water. So this is the outside of the unit. The thing to remember, this is the master switch. That's on. So when you shut it off when you're in storage, but when you're using it, obviously you want that in the on position. I'll show you the controls when we get inside and talk about it a little bit more. Okay, so as we come around, cable and satellite through there. You have a ladder, which makes it easy to inspect the roof. The manufacturer states every 90 days the roof should be inspected. So you're going to look for damage caused by, low branches or road debris. You're going to look at the sealant to make sure there's no cracking or separation where water could get through, that sort of thing. It's just a 90-day, every 90 days inspect it, or have somebody else do it. Be very careful. And if you see an issue, take care of it. Odds are you won't have to do anything for years, but you don't know for sure. That's why it's important to inspect your roof. And right there is the backup camera pre-wire housing right there. So you would add the backup camera right there. So it takes a Furrion kit. You can do it with just a backup camera, or you could put 3 cameras on, or none at all. It's up to you. It's just it gives you that option. We sell the kits here. You can get them elsewhere. Just make sure you get the right kit. That's all. Alrighty. So here we go inside. We look to the left, and we have our control panel here. This is your slide out here. This is your power awning here, in and out. I'll just send it out a little bit so you can see it. Okay. It's got an LED light strip. Never leave it out unattended. If you're not going to be at the campsite, roll it in. This is your water pump. It's used to pump water out of the freshwater tank if you don't have city water, like we discussed. It's also used to winterize the trailer. Lights, And of course all your levels, your battery and your fresh and your black tanks and gray tank and that sort of thing, okay? The keys are hanging here. As we come in, you have a backer plate here. This is where you would mount a TV bracket here. You have a sound bar. It has FM radio, no AM, just FM, but it has Bluetooth. It has 2 speaker zones, A and B. A is inside the trailer, B is outside the trailer. It's got a remote. And you have a USB drive, so you could put all your MP3s on one USB stick and take your music with you, whatever. So it's pretty good. The this here is your fireplace. Obviously, it's a good space heater. It has a remote and also has controls right here. There you go. So you can see that's flashing H, which means high. So I can change that. I can go to off. That's the fan speed now. So the fan is not working. You put it again, it's low, so it's coming out a bit. The heat, I mean. And you hit high and it's really kicking out right now. You could also change, the colors of the crystals, that sort of thing. It has a timer on it, a thermostat, so it does a lot of different things. Or there's a lot of different configurations anyway, but the bottom line is it's a really good space heater and it runs on campground electricity, so on those days where you don't quite need the furnace, you can use campground power without using your limited supply of LP, so in that sense it's a really good thing. As we come around, I left this drawer out just to show you that he's still got his broom here. That this is where your water pump is down here. You can see the switch there, so you can switch between the uptake line for antifreeze. It's all done right there, okay? Okay. You do that by access that by removing the bottom drawer. This is your power converter here. This converts AC to DC power. So on this side you get regular 120 AC circuit breakers like you see at home. They're all labeled. Then the power is converted to 12 volt DC on this side, so you got 12 volt fuses and they're all labeled, so that's where the 12 volt comes from. There's also a battery tender, so when you're plugged into shore power, it'll sense how much energy your battery on the tongue has and needs, and it'll send as many amps necessary up there to charge it or keep it charged. Also, when you're pulling down the road, your tow vehicle will charge the battery, so you have 2 different ways to charge it. But this is the power converter, converts AC to DC and charges your battery. Of course, this is your range. You spark this to use it, to light it, I mean. Just gonna select your thing here, and I think, let me see here. I have to set the camera down here, bear with me a second. Like that. So, it's that simple. Never, always keep the lid up or the cover up when you're using it. Let the burners cool before you put it back down, and always travel with it in the down position, okay? This is the oven knob here. You're just going to go to the oven symbol and you're going to depress this. You keep it depressed while you're lighting it. You spark it by turning clockwise. And once you see the pilot light back here light at the bottom all the way in the back, you'll still hold this in for another 10 or 15 seconds to heat up the thermocouple. Then you go to temperature. When you shut it off, the pilot light goes out, so you have to relight the pilot light each time you use the oven. And of course you have oven light there and ambient light there. Okay? Okay, this is your vent. I showed you the outside, the vent with the two, or this is your fan, the vent with the 2 latches. If you're running the fan, you want to open that up so it vents to the outside. You also have a light there. Microwave works like any other microwave. Your refrigerator is a 12 volt DC refrigerator, so it runs on 12 volt DC. You have your thermostat here, works like they all do. You just light it up that way and you keep hitting the mode bar till it gets to what you want, heating, cooling, whatever you want. This is your controller for your on-demand water. Usually you set it about 120, so I'll just do that. So it's set for 120 right now. This one changes from that one there changes from Celsius to Fahrenheit. So we're at 120 Fahrenheit is what it's set at. So if in order for this to work, you have to have one or two things happen. You either have to have the city water hooked up with it turned on, or you have to have water in your freshwater tank with the pump turned on. Right now, that's what we have. Water in the tank with the pump turned on. So it'll sense that. And if it doesn't sense the water, it will not light. So you got to have that. But like I said, we got that. So you come over and you turn on any hot water faucet, right? You can see it's lighting here. The flame will appear soon. The tanks were off, so sometimes there'll be a little air bubble in there it has to work past. So let me do that again. See if we can work past that. It's actually good to see because you'll occasionally run into it. So let me just shut it off again and see what's happening. We'll try it again, and it'll move some more gas through the line, hopefully. If it doesn't light, I'm not going to go through it again. Oh, it just did right there. You see the flame? So now the temperature is going up: 92, 97, 102, 106, 108. It'll go up to 120 and then stay there. Okay. So if it doesn't light when you first hook up, and if you change out the tanks or anything, just give it another try. And that's the same way with all the gas appliances here. Like I was talking about the thermostat, like the furnace lights automatically. So I would go to furnace, which is heat, and then I would set the temperature. It's at 80 right now. So it'll start and it'll light. It lights by itself. It makes 3 attempts to light it. It'll always light within those 3 attempts. But if for some reason it doesn't, all you do is you shut it back off, like I was just showing you. Go to off, wait a few seconds to reset it, and it'll still be, the fan will still be spinning in there and everything, but that's cycling. When you shut it off, the flame goes out immediately, but it still cycles. So if I shut it back off and turn it back on, that's going to start the lighting sequence over again. So it'll make 3 more attempts. But you should rarely, if ever, have to do that. But keep in mind, sometimes it'll take that, but it's just very rare. Okay, so this is your carbon monoxide LP gas detector. It should always be green like it is. If it's not, get it serviced. There's also a test button there you can push. Don't ignore it if it's not working. Get it fixed or replaced. It's not expensive, and it's very important, obviously. The toilet's a typical RV toilet. It sits over a black tank. You have to put chemical and water in the bowl when you first start using it. So you put a dose of chemical and hold the pedal down and put at least a gallon of water in there. Don't use less than a gallon, but you can use more. Once you've done that, you're ready to use it till you dump it again. But you always want to start off with chemical and water. If you don't do that, it'll get clogged up. It'll just be a mess. So make sure you do that. Of course, your shower, this works like any other shower. Same with your vanity and sink there. Couch jackknifes flat into a bed. The table, you can drop it down onto the cleats and you can turn it into a bed over here also. This is all your stuff here, your literature and that sort of thing. Okay, as I move back, let's look up real quick. This is another pre-wire. If you're interested in getting better public Wi-Fi, don't worry about the 4G thing. You don't have to use that. You can look at their kit, scan the code, and basically the kit you'd be interested in if you want to extend the Wi-Fi capabilities. You'd get the router box that fits right here and a Wi-Fi antenna that goes on the roof. So if you're interested, you can do that. You get better signal with that. So you got a second air conditioner here in the bunk room. Of course, that jackknife's flat. So you got 4 places to sleep, which is great. Emergency window, another TV hookup with a backer plate. Okay, and we'll go up front here, finish up. Okay, so you have an emergency window here also, a GFCI. I want you to remember that all the plugs are wired to a GFCI. Even if they're normal looking, like this is a normal looking duplex here, so is the one outside. But they're all wired through a GFCI. So if it's not working, first thing you're going to think is GFCI. Go find the one that it's hooked up to and reset it. Okay. TV hookups. Keep in mind that you always want this glowing green like it is. You can shut it off by pushing this button, but you don't want to do that, right there I mean. You don't want to do that because that turns on the digital antenna and you won't get a good signal if you don't have it on. And there's some storage underneath the bed also, okay? Alrighty. I think that covers it. So I want to thank you for purchasing your trailer here at National RV Detroit. Please remember what I said about inspecting the roof every 90 days. That's very important. Most people do not inspect the roof enough, so make sure you take care of that. Whoever does it has to be very careful. And right now there's no antifreeze in the system. It's all fresh water, so you're all set for the summertime. And any questions you have when you pick up, we'll go over them with you and we'll get you on your way, okay? Thank you very much.